Welcome to the channel and to this 2000 point Maelstrom of War battle report between Da Boys and 30k Mechanicum. Today we are back in the ruins of their cities where 2000 points of Orks are going to clash against 2000 points of Mechanicus, and everywhere there is smoke and ruin and craters, everything a 4+ cover. We're deployed lengthways. The Orks have got this side, the Mechanicum have got the top end up there by the road, by the statues. We don't know who's going first yet, and it is Spoils of War. Spoils of War is 3 cards a turn, every single turn, and you can't discard objectives that start with a number, and your opponent can steal those objectives. So if I've got number 2 in my hand and the Orks are sat on number 2, then the Orks can take number 2 in their turn. It turns out there are 3 objectives in the Ork deployment zone, one there, and one in this building right in the back here, which is no doubt going to be looter fodder. We shall see. We placed the objectives before we figured out which way we were deploying and even what game we were playing. One in no man's land near the statues in the middle, and only 2. One here and one there in the Mechanicum deployment zone. So I'm gonna have to push or outflank or think of something tactical, and I'm not very good with the old tactical thing. I'm very much looking forward to taking on Orks. It's a rare day when I fight Orks. Today my opponent is Tom, and he's brought along some nice Forge World goodness. So let's go and have a look at these armies. This is 2000 points worth of Mechanicum. It consists of a combined arms detachment and an allied detachment. I've done that so I can bring along another HQ. The 2 HQ in the combined arms slot consist of a Magos Dominus with a Rag Cleanser and a Servo Arm, and an Arch Magos Prime Malagra with a Machinator Array and a Cyber Familiar. What that means is, 1, this guy looks really cool. That's the Machinator Array on the back there with a Flamer and an Inferno pistol, and I like it. I like it a lot, and it increases his toughness to 6. So he's got toughness 6, 2+ save, 3+ invuln, and it gives him a couple of extra unwieldy attacks. So along with his power axe, he's got 6 unwieldy attacks. 6 at strength 5, AP 2. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. In the troop slot, we have 2 Castellax with Darkfire cannons, and a unit of 20 Tech Thralls with Mitralocks, and a unit of 10 Thralls with Mitralocks. Both of these Covenant have been given Rite of Pure Thought and Carapace armor. Rite of Pure Thought means they're fearless. So that's 40 fearless troops, which is also nice. In the heavy slot, I've got 2 separate units of Thanatars with their Helix Plasmid mortars, and in the far slot, 3 separate Voraks, and one of them, that one at the back, has been given a Rag Cleanser because I had some points. In the elite slot, we have 4 Myrmidon Secators, 2 with Maxima Bolters and 2 with the Plasma Fusils. In the allied slot, another Magos and 4 Thalax with a Photon Thruster. Brought this guy along to increase my Cortex controller range and add a bit more Cyberthurgy. So no flyers, but fortunately we both agreed that there'd be no flyers each in this game, and no transports. Everything's on the table, everything will get hurt as soon as it gets shot. But I'm really looking forward to playing with this since the new codex dropped. This is 2000 points worth of Orks with some Forge World goodness. It consists of 2 combined arms detachments, so we can get 2 super heavies in it. So the Warlord for the army is this guy with Mega Armor and the Lucky Stick, and he looks very pretty. And there's a Pain Boy, and there's 2 units of 10 boys in trucks with reinforced ram, and both of the knobs have got power claws, no boss bowls. 13 looters in the backfield, and then the Lord of War. So this Lord of War is a Kill Burster heavy tank with a Kill Blaster cannon.
Close enough.
That's close enough. He's got 7 hull points and it shoots out a 7-inch D weapon. Got a transport capacity of 12, and it counts as open top for assault purposes, but not when you shoot at it. So very nice. Also a unit of 7 knobs, all with heavy armor. There's one with a power claw. They've all got big choppers, and that's the lead knob at the front there with a big chopper. In the other combined arms slot, we've got a Big Mech custom force field DAF fixer-upper and 2 more units of 10 boys. Trucks with reinforced ram, and both of the knobs have got power claws. We've got the Mega Dread. Front armor 13 with a 5+ invulnerable save, a very big gun, and yeah, nice. Kill Crusher super heavy tank, 7 hull points, counts as open top again, so you can charge out of it. It's got a gun that has various things that go on. Anyway, it's very, very pretty, and I'm looking forward to seeing it on the battlefield. So as I mentioned, no flyers in these lists. Lots of boys charging all over the place. A couple of super heavy tanks and some looters providing lots of suppression firepower. It's certainly going to be interesting. The midday sun is high in the sky. It is not night time, and the Mechanicum are lined up and ready to go first. One of the Thanatars I've kept here with the Dark Fire Castellax marking this objective, and the other one is round here close to that objective. Thralls in the centre and left, and Myrmidons on the right, and we're looking out at lots of trucks sat behind those ruins ready to burst forward with belching engines. There's the Mega Dread on this side, the knobs, and the War Boss is in this super heavy. The Big Mech with a fixer-upper is in that super heavy, and trucks all the way along the line. Looters, quite tactically, are spread out to try and avoid the huge blasts that come in from the Thanatar. As I mentioned, the Orks haven't stolen the initiative. They haven't got a very high initiative. Their reinforced rams mean they shouldn't have too much trouble with the terrain. My 3 units of Voraks are in reserve and will be outflanking because there's 3 objectives down that end, and the Thalax are going to be deep striking in. Anyway, let's move on to turn 1. Mechanicum objectives in turn 1, recon and secure objective 2 twice. Unfortunately, I'm sat on objective 2. In the Mechanicum turn 1, this unit of Covenants pushed forward, this unit ran forward, and that unit ran forward. Got a good run on the HQ squad, but they're staring down the barrel of that big D bad boy there. And then the Thanatars and the Darkfire Cannon on the Castellax all decided to pick on this truck here. And with some bad scattering from the Thanatars and with some good cover saves, it's got 1 hull point left. I was going for first blood. It's also stunned, so it's not moving in its snapfire in this turn, but it managed to negate one of the penetrating hits with Ramshackle, so I didn't kill anything. However, I do score objective 2 twice, and the Castellax are sat on a scatterfield there, which is quite nice. So it's 2 points to the Mechanicum, 0 to the Orks, no first blood yet. Let's see what the boys can do. Turn 1 for the Orks, and they've got hungry for glory, so they need to issue a challenge, which isn't going to happen, and grab the loot is secure objective 5, and this is secure objective 5, and interestingly, the Orks are sat on objective 5 as well, so they're going to get 2 cheap points. In the movement phase, it's been quite a slow start for the boys. It looks like they're cautious. Maybe they haven't seen these mechanoid monstrosities before. The Mega Dread staying still. He doesn't want to get charged by big squads of fearless guys and locked up for a long, long time. This truck moved 6, that truck's stunned, that truck moved a little bit, that truck moved 6, and they've got out. And if they make an 8-inch charge, there could be hungry for glory, as well as score objective 5 twice. Both of the super heavies are staying still. This could be brutal. Into the shooting phase, and the Mega Dread, I believe, killed 5 or 6, took a chunk out of the apple of that fearless squad of Covenant there. And this bad boy killed 4 or so out of this chunk here. The real damage came from the D, which scattered a little bit and nuked 2 of the Myrmidons. And then he attempted a charge. It was a long charge after some wall of death and some hits and wounds from the Myrmidons. I killed 2 boys, which made it a 12-inch charge through cover, or 10 inches, and then the -2, and he failed the charge, and I breathed a sigh of relief. The looters have ran forward. They're occupying this lovely firing line right in the middle of the table. So they didn't shoot this turn, but next turn they will definitely speak. Anyway, the Orks control objective 5 twice, so they also have 2 points. It's 2 points each. Mechanicum objectives. I still have recon in my hand, and I've pulled out secure objective 3, which I control, and secure objective 5. The Orks are going to steal the loot on that one. This is the end of the movement phase, and the Mechanicum are the first to break the midway point. My lord is going to charge that Ork unit if I don't kill every single one in the shooting phase. Hopefully I manage to pile in there, then consolidate into terrain, because that tank is very, very scary. The Castellax and the Thanatars are staying back. There's no point in issuing any cyberthurgy orders at this time, because they're not wounded. I don't want to fire twice. If I fire twice with one of those guns, they won't be able to fire next turn. So I might as well leave them there. The blobs are making their way forward, and the 2 of the Voraks are coming on here. Both dipping their toe into terrain, which is a bit cheaty, but them's the rules. This one's got the Fleshbane Flamer. That's no escape, D6. That could potentially sting a bit. And this one back here with its rotor cannons is going to try and hose down some of those looters in cover there. End of turn 2 for the Mechanicum, and both of the Thanatars fired up and over. One of them onto this truck here, and I ripped off a gun and killed a couple of looters. The other one fired up and over onto the Death Dread and penned it, but it made its invulnerable save and hit that truck, and I blew off a weapon as well. So that's 2 trucks with weapons blown off. Shame. Then the Castellax picked on that stunned truck and managed to remove the last hull point. It didn't blow up. The boys are out and they're not pinned. So that is first blood. This Voraks firing at the looters did absolutely nothing. They're deep in cover. But this one, I rolled a 6 for no escape with that Fleshbane Rad Cleanser. 6 of the boys are dead inside that truck. Units embarked inside vehicles are fearless, so they don't have to take a morale test, but there's only 4 left in that squad there, which is fruity. The Covenant are running for their lives and hiding behind cover, and then my HQ squad and the Myrmidons on this side of the table killed every single Ork boy in this squad. The Knob passed his leadership test, and then I failed to charge. Even if I had shot them, I rolled a 3, so jumping through terrain it would have been a 1-inch charge. I'd have failed to charge anyway, so I'm quite pleased I shot them. But there is an Ork Knob with a power claw standing there, and let's not forget he's got Hungry for Glory in his hand, so he's probably going to come wheeling in and issue a challenge before he dies. That's what I would do. So far I haven't picked on either of the big super heavy tanks yet. I don't know if that's a good tactic, to be honest. I just want to pick on these boys and remove scoring options. Maybe I should start picking on these tanks. Let's see how deadly they are in this turn. Moving on to Orks, turn 2. Turn 2 for the Orks, and they're getting violent. Hungry for Glory, issue a challenge. More Daka, shoot something to death. No prisoners, just kill stuff. This is a potential to score 4 or 7 points. Yeah, the Orks are hungry for blood. In the movement phase, that Knob from that single squad is pushing up. It looks like he might eat the Overwatch, or perhaps not, because then that'd be 2 power claw attacks, because this truck burst through before the looters moved and had to join coherency again, and has disgorged its cargo. So there's going to be a lot of attacks coming in at my HQ squad there. Then the looters regrouped, got back together again in their nice long conga line, and the guys that got blown out of this truck are squeezing through the gaps there. The HQ squad are out of the super heavy tank and are looking and taking on one of those Voraks. And the super heavy tank stayed still. And the Death Dread, the Mega Dread, can squeeze past if it wants to by going sideways, tiptoeing sideways, and get the second Voraks. We'll be clipping terrain though, which might slow it down. But yeah, we're definitely going to have some assaults this turn in the backfield here. The Orks should steal objective 5 this turn, and they need to issue a challenge, which won't be any problem at all, and then kill as much as possible. So let's move on to the shooting phase and find out how successful they are. Shooting phase is over. Just about to get some charges on. Not a lot had happened except for the big gun fired up and with a little bit of scatter and with some D goodness wiped out the Magos that was stood next to this Thanatar. That's killed something in the shooting phase, so that's a point. And now they're going to charge. 3 assaults went down that turn. This Vorax is mincemeat. His Warlord just trashed through it, and the Mega Dread, he failed to charge. That Vorax isn't. The other Vorax is in trouble next turn though. That's combat 1 and 1 unit killed. Combat 2 in the middle of the board. His unit came charging through the legs of the statues. I think I lost 6, 7 or 8 thralls. I killed 5 boys in return, but I lost the combat. But that squad are fearless, so they're locked up, which stops them from getting shooted. And over here, I lost 1 Myrmidon, made a ridiculous amount of saves, and then failed pretty much all of my attacks but 1 on the knob with the power claw that issued a challenge. Basically, I dealt out 1 wound, and I took 2 wounds. This combat was a big whiff, but that is issue a challenge. That's kill 2 units for no prisoners. That's kill something in the shooting phase, and that's steal objective 5. So that's 4 points to the Orks, which makes the total 6 points to 4 for the Green Tide. Mechanicum objectives in turn 3 still have recon in my hand, and I've got secure objective 6 and overwhelming firepower. Just shoot something to death. Alright, in the movement phase, the Vorax came on here. It needs a nice run to get objective 6, and the Thalax, yeah, I tried to deep strike him on top of that building, and if you know anything about this channel, you know that my deep striking is appallingly bad, lucky, but they're just on. So that should be a score objective 6 and recon. That'll be all the mysterious objectives revealed, and I need to kill 3 units for D3 points for overwhelming firepower. So they're going to pick on this truck. That truck's on 2 hull points, and there's a Thanatar here, and that truck's on 2 hull points, and there's a Thanatar there. And I chucked out Rite of Destruction on this unit, so one of those guns is going to fire twice this turn, so that'll be 6 strength 7 shots. Gives me lots of options. I think I'm going to fire the Thanatar last, because if I manage to blow open those trucks, which will be very lucky, let's face it, and these guys with their strength 4 weapon against those strength 10 trucks, they could potentially do it as well. But if I manage to blow open all those trucks, then he's got a nice line of sight with a strength 8, AP2, ordnance barrage down on his Warlord's unit in this corner. Now that is going to sting. Pushing the Vorax forward and engaging this unit here, but instead, because there could be a big barrage coming in, I've put it right in the corner of the table. If that Warlord's unit wants to charge in and pull itself back to that corner of the table where it'll be, let's face it, not very effective for a turn or 2, I'm happy with that. That's tactics, that is. That was an unsuccessful shooting phase. I've done the assault moves for the Thalax. They've jumped in there. I have got recon secured objective 6, but them firing at the rear of that vehicle with their lightning guns and plasma, and this, basically, he's on 1 hull point left. He dropped a hull point, and they're still kicking it, so nothing killed there. The Castellax fired across at this thing. I killed this one. This one's dead. And then the Thanatar, and this blob just took 2 hull points off this thing. Just 2 hull points. I thought about, yeah, but better not. Anyway, couple of hull points chipped away at some vehicles, 1 truck blown up. The Vorax did absolutely nothing in the backfield. We've got some assaults coming on. So I'm going to be charging here. We've got the one in the middle and my Warlord, which is locked up on the right flank to resolve. Maybe I can kill 2 things in the assault phase. A truck, I don't know. In the assault phase, the Covenant managed to wreck that truck with the last dice. And the boys got out and they're pinned. Hurrah! Over here, my Myrmidon and my HQ both took a wound. He took a wound in a challenge, failed his 3+ invulnerable save, and he failed one of his 5+ invulnerable saves. As the power claws came smashing in, I killed the guy I'm in a challenge with, 2 wounds dealt out on either side, so that combat is a draw. At the end of turn 3, I only killed 2 units, but I do score objective 6. I do get recon. It is 7 points to Mechanicum, 6 points to the Orks, and we're going on to Orks. Turn 3. The Orks want to find out what's on Objective 4, and Recon is a free point at this stage, and they also still want to kill stuff, assassinate, kill a character. In the movement phase, the looters are breaking cover. They need a 3-inch run to secure Objective 4. And the kill squad with his warlord is pushing around because this squad is pinned. They don't want to go back into the corner. They're going to come this way around and start dealing with these thralls. The walker got a crappy move through cover because it will be going through the edge of that terrain there, and it hasn't got move through cover. And he's still a long way away from that Vorax. Big tank turning around to look over there. I don't think you can see anything, but we shall see. Other big tank moving around to get shots up this side of the battlefield. In the shooting phase, not a lot happened. The Mega Dread failed to hurt the Vorax. This unit here decided not to shoot my Covenant along with the pinned boys. It's an 8-inch charge. They want to swing around and charge. The looters made the run. They're now controlling Objective 4, which is a scatter field, which is nice. It'll be a 3+ cover safe from shots coming this way. And the big D there fired in. 2 wounds taken off of this one, 1 wound taken off of this one, and the Dominus, which is holding these 2 guys in coherency, didn't take any wounds. Another shot like that from the D, and this unit will be dead. Anyway, we're going on to the assault phase. We've got this one, we've got this one, and 2 potential charges. In the assault phase, the Mega Dread failed the charge, but this big kill squad did not fail the charge. I put a wound on one of the knobs, and then they slaughtered a bunch of guys. Basically, there's 3 Covenant left. His HQ squad are locked up, and it's going to prevent me from shooting him next turn. That was a glorious thing that happened to the Orks there. The fight in the middle, the knob with the power claws on 1 wound left, and he's been slowly beaten down. There's 6 Covenant left there. I think he's going to die next turn, but he'll certainly take a couple out with him. The combat on the other side of the table, I took no wounds. I wounded 2 boys. They broke, they failed morale. I can't sweep and advance them. And they're all the way back here. And now I'm consolidating towards the looters. I thought about consolidating towards this super heavy tank, but these are strength 5 weaponry versus armor 10. 6 hull points left. I'm probably not going to kill it in the assault phase. So let me go and have a go at some looters instead. Anyway, that's 2 points to the Orks. They got Recon, they got Objective 4. It's 7 points to the Orks, 6 points to the Mechanicum. We're moving on to turn 4. The Mechanicum need to kill the King, and see as he's locked in combat, he's immortal this turn, and secure Objective 3, which I own, and secure Objective 5, which I don't own. Objective 5 is here. That's the Vorax running for it. He's a monstrous creature, so move through cover, and he's got fleet. I need to get lucky, but potentially I could do it. And 3 is all the way over here. Of course, if I don't score Objective 5, it will be stolen by those looting Orks. In the movement and the shooting phase, the Vorax managed to get all the way through within 3 inches of Objective 5, so I score that objective luckily enough. It was the fleet roll that got me there. And Thanatar on the right, Thanatar on the left, and the Castellax unit here, and the Thalax in the backfield fired everything they could at the super heavy tank, which has been recovering hull points because of the big mech inside. It's on 5 hull points left. Need to kill that D. That's everything I could shove at it, and it's still on 5 hull points. My Lord and the Myrmidon managed to murder 4 out of 5 of those, 4 or 5 of the looters, which broke morale and fell back, and now I can't see them, so I can't charge them, so they're sat in the open. Did I mention the D? Yeah, the looters are now there. So assault phase coming up. The Vorax is going to try and charge that truck. We've got this knob swinging away with his claw, and I think my other Covenant over that side are going to die. I've pulled these guys around this way in anticipation of them dying and then getting charged next turn. In the assault phase, that Vorax wrecked the truck. My unit of Covenant killed the knob before he could swing with his power claw and got a good consolidation, pushing up through the ruins there. Thalax have jetpacked into that terrain, and the Death Squad killed those Ad Secularis Covenant without taking any wounds and are making their way up the table. I score objective 5, I score objective 3, I've ditched Kingslayer, it's 8 points to Mechanicum, 7 points to the Orks, going on to Orks turn 4. The Orks are still angry. Stomp 'em boys is kill something in the assault phase, and if you kill 3 units, that's D3 victory points. Assassinate, kill a character, and secure objective 4, which is right in the middle of the table and no one owns at this time. Turn 4 and the Orks have finally crossed the barricades. His war boss breaking over the Aegis defensive line there and looking at these Castellax with hungry eyes. As is the super heavy tank over here. He's got shots on the Castellax or on my HQ unit. Both the looters and this squad of boys here regrouped, but after regrouping they're only snap firing and they can't charge this turn. But at least they're back in the fight. This big tank can take shots at the Thalax and kill something in the assault phase. I think that Vorax is dead. That Mega Dread is finally going to do some damage. The Orks are still pretty much contained along this line here, but they've still got plenty of effective units left, and it's all about the cards in these games. It's anyone's call right now. Let's not forget, both of these super heavy tanks are pretty much undamaged. Let's shoot stuff. In the shooting phase, the Orks did nothing. The snap firing regrouping squads did nothing. The Mega Dread did nothing. And the 2 big blasts from the super heavy tanks flew wildly off into space and did nothing. Typical Orc shooting there. They're going to have to club things to death instead. The Mega Dread just ran over that Vorax. It couldn't hurt it in close combat, and it got a good consolidation move. So that's stop 'em, boys. But the other assault failed, and I managed to kill a Nob with Overwatch with the Darkfire cannon. They passed their blind test, but because I killed the closest Nob, they failed their charge, and that is only 1 point for the Orks this turn, so it's 8 points to 8, and we're going on to turn 5. Mechanicum objectives in turn 5. Secure objective 2, secure objective 1, and Big Game Hunter kill a vehicle. And seeing as there's only a Mega Dread and 2 super heavy tanks left, that's going to be tricky. The Thanatar scoring objective 2. Objective 1 is there. The Covenant are objective secured. They can steal it. Those looters are not. In the movement phase, the Covenant have taken objective 1. I dropped Kingslayer, by the way, and this unit is going to steal objective 4. A unit that contains only Cybernetica can never score, but that unit doesn't contain only Cybernetica. I've got my Magos Dominus in the middle of that, so that'll be an extra point. Apart from that, I'm lining up the guns, the Castellax, the Thanatars, and the Thalax in the backfield to try and get every single shot on that Mega Dread. That's the weakest, unfortunately, with its 5+ and vulnerable save, that's the weakest vehicle on the table for Big Game Hunter. These things are going to be impervious to the firepower. It keeps regaining hull points. End of turn 5, and the shots from the Castellax and the Thanatars have shaken this Mega Dread, and it is on 1 hull point left. Round here, the Vorax charged into that unit of boys that regrouped last turn and slaughtered them with sweep and advance, and then consolidated into the ruin there. These guys failed to wound the looters because they're in cover, and I forgot to move my Warlord, but to be honest, he's, well, maybe he's not relatively safe there, but he's sticking there for now. So the Orks have 2 big scary tanks left, but that side of the table, not very much control. The Thalax jumped and tucked in here with their assault moves. Apart from those 2 big scary tanks, they've got a small squad of looters, a Mega Dread on 1 hull point, and these 2 squads here. Not a lot of units left for the Orks. I do score objective 1, 3 and 4. So it's 12 points to the Mechanicum and 9 points to the Orks. Is it turning south? Is it going badly for the Orks? Let's see what cards they draw in this turn. See if they can pull it out of the bag. Turn 5 for the Orks. Assassinate. They really want to kill a character and secure objective 3 and 6, both of which are controlled by the Mechanicum. 3, this Thanatar's holding on to, and 6, the Thalax have got deep in this ruin on this side of the table. To kill a character, there's that Magos there, and of course my Warlord there. In the movement and shooting phase, the Death Squad are making their way round to the Castellax, which took a D hit from the tank, which ricocheted, bounced away, and they're still alive. So that character is not dead for now. We'll see what happens in the assault phase. My Warlords unit, well, that's untouched. Then everything back here, the looters stay still, the Mega Dread, that big tank focused on the Covenant, and there's one guy left. So he's about to get charged by a Mega Dread. My second in command is about to get charged by his Warlord. Let's see what happens in the assault phase. This is the way the world ends. The Knob Squad, his Warlord, failed the charge 2 turns in a row, and that character stood there. My Dominus is still alive. The Mega Dread, of course, crushed that one Covenant and charged forward. But apart from that, nothing died in the assault phase, and the Orks don't score any points this turn. And we rolled a dice, and the game ended. So as the smoke clears from the ruins of their city, the Mechanicum are victorious. I've got Linebreaker in the backfield from this Stalax unit, which miraculously were untouched for most of the game. Normally they get picked on something rotten. But talking about untouched, these 2 super heavy tanks are still kicking it, pretty much on full hull points. I didn't have much to answer them with my list, which is why I ignored them. It turned out to be a sound tactic. The other thing that was very, very lucky for me, the last 2 turns of shooting for the Orks, their big blasts, missed horribly, and Ork shooting did what Ork shooting does and saved my skin. If those 2 had hit for 2 more turns in a row, perhaps it could have been a very different game. If the game had gone on, I would have stolen more objectives and pulled even further into the lead. We talked about this one for a while. I think the Mechanicum was just a bit more aggressive than the Orks. In turn 1, the Orks didn't push up very far, and Tom isn't used to playing on such a terrain heavy board, so he was spread out, and those trucks making their way through all this scenery got the better of the Orks there. It confused the poor Ork Warlord, and they're not very bright guys, you know. But I certainly had a lot of fun. It's a beautiful Ork army. I very much enjoyed playing this. I'm looking forward to playing Tom again at some point and see what other Ork goodness he can bring along. So, my Warlord on 1 with a wound left is still alive, charging down the avenue towards the statues, about to meet his Warlord head to head in the middle of the table. But before that happens, orders come down from High Command, and both forces withdraw from the tabletop. The battletop. The Orks licking their wounds, and the Mechanicum victorious for the first time with the new Codex. So I hope you enjoyed that game. Thank you very much for watching, and happy wargaming.